And like she mentioned, we are truly honored that we have with us Dr. Anup K. Pujari, Secretary, MSME Ministry, Government of India. Let us put our hands together as I request him to join us on stage and address the audience. Sir.
Thank you very much. We just heard what the lady before me, Ms. Kadros, spoke about. Let me start by telling you a small story about Mangalore. I don't know how many of you may have heard of Mangalore. Has anybody heard of Mangalore? Which district does it belong to? Anybody who knows? Mangalore belongs to which district? Or Mangalore is Mangalore a district? Very good, it is close to Udupi. Some attempt. Well, Mangalore is the headquarter of a district called Dakshina Kannada, South Canada. Udupi was formerly part of the Mangalore, the Dakshina Kannada district. Mangalore is the headquarter. Now, of course, Udupi has become a separate district. So, there is one district called Dakshin Kannada in Karnataka, another district called Udupi. Now, the story is this, that we talk about entrepreneurship. So, I am talking about this story from Mangalore. In 70s, 80s until about 90s, one of the leading production or the leading business that was there in Mangalore was making of bidi. Bidis is the Indian version of cigarette. Mangalore used to make lot of bidis. The Bharat bidi you say, SMS bidi you say. Mangalore used to be one of the most important production center for bidis. Now, this came to me as a surprise in 1987 when I became the collector of Dakshin Kannada district, the undivided Dakshin Kannada district, and tried to find out how is it that Mangalore produces bidis. Is it because the Mangaloreans smoke a lot of bidis? The answer is no. They are quite health conscious in 1980s and they were not really into smoking of bidis. Was Mangalore a center for production of the raw material for bidis? The raw material is what is called tendu leaves. And the tendu leaves are essentially in the state of Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha. This is the leaf on which the bidi is rolled. So it is not a center for that. The second ingredient that goes into making a bidi is tobacco. Tobacco is produced in Guntur district of Andhra Pradesh mostly, some parts in Shimoga district of Karnataka, but not in Mangalore. The third ingredient that goes to bidi making is a little, some sort of a thread, because once you roll on the leaf, then you put a little thread around that to hold it. And Dakshin Kannada is not known to be a textile center. There is no black cotton soil. The cotton is not produced there. So Mangalore and the adjacent areas are not bidi smoking areas. Mangalore and adjacent areas are not producing any of the raw material required for that. How is it that Mangalore became a very, very reputed center of bidi? The answer is entrepreneurship. The answer is, in colloquial Kannada language, I used to say that Mangaloreans used to have a dexterous pair of hands and to roll the bidi a very smooth thigh. Because what you normally do in bidi making is that you first get the tendu leaf, dry it out. Before it completely becomes bone dry, you put tobacco into that, take the leaf and tobacco, and on your thigh, you roll that, it becomes a bidi, a cylindrical sort of a bidi, and then put something and do this. Now, every household in Mangalore would be rolling bidis. What they would do is that they'll go to the center, pick up the leaves in bundles, tobacco in some packet, take that home, and roll bidis, and every 25 bidi they make packet, bring back and put it in the collection center and collect their money. Somebody who has got this enterprising idea about this knew that, like Kerala, the South Karnataka districts, the women are quite, they are outgoing. They wouldn't mind coming to the center, taking this thing, doing at home. and this women-centered household, they tried to take this up as a almost like a cottage industry in their houses, quality control, and then came up. Point is, entrepreneurship is something which cannot be taught. It comes, and that is also the reason why the district of Dakshin Kannada, as it was known then, was home to 4 nationalized banks that they started. The Corporation Bank, headquarters is still in Bangalore. Syndicate Bank, headquarters is Manipal, now shifted to Karnataka, to Bangalore. Then the Vijaya Bank, which started there, and Canara Bank. In addition to these 4, it is also the headquarters of 2 other South Indian banks there. Now, this brings us back to the thing is that in order to be an entrepreneur, what do you need? Every entrepreneur picks up an opportunity, spots an opportunity, and turns that into a marketable idea. Therefore, in order that you become an entrepreneur, you don't have to be a Nobel Prize winning economist or an idea. There are ideas are there, you got to pick it up and work on them. In simple language, therefore, an entrepreneur is somebody who either finds a new market for an existing product or finds a new product or a combination of the two. Example, sometimes we try to say that a new market for an existing product. Very simple example, I don't know how many of you like eating dosas, masala dosa. Very rarely, 15 or 20 years ago in Delhi, we made dosas at our homes. We normally went to places and ate dosas. Why? The reason that in order to make that batter for making dosa, you needed the recipe, but also you needed a grinder. Sometimes later, the mechanical grinder came into the market, and then people bought the grinder, made the batter at home, and made dosas. But think of the people, let's say husband and wife, only 2 of them or maybe 1 person working, that person will find it very difficult to go for a grinder, buy that grinder, come bring it home, because the scale doesn't permit that. He wants to eat only 2 or 3 dosas in a day. So in order to eat 2 or 3 dosas in a day, you cannot be having a grinder at home, grind that and make it. Then the innovation came. Some of the shops in South Delhi, you will find that they sell dosa batter in small pouches. You buy 250 grams of dosa batter, come home, make 3 dosas, and it's all done. So finding a market for an existing product this is the type of innovation that you do, that you find something and come in there. Let me now suggest something else. Ms. Quadros in her speech mentioned a few very successful enterprises in India. She mentioned about Flipkart, Ola, which was the third one? Snapdeal. We celebrate their success. But from the government side or for civil society, we need something more. Each one of these 3, Flipkart, Snapdeal and Ola, they're in the service industry. They will ride on some amount of manufacturing taking place. So if the manufacturing doesn't take place in our country, we will not be able to ride the wave just by doing greater services. And think of this, what does Ola do? What does Snapdeal do? And what do Flipkart do? They are bringing in efficiency into an existing type of market. The cab market, where you are not satisfied with the cab driver, you go to Ola, you know that for certain you will get a cab driver who will come and pick you up. Snapdeal and Flipkart are only making your shopping experience more pleasant and also bringing in a lot of innovation. But in the course of that, they are displacing existing players and bringing great amount of efficiency. Those of you who read economics would know that Schumpeter talked about this as the creative destruction. That whenever innovation takes place, whenever a new person comes in, a new entity comes in, it will destroy the old one, because in a competitive world, the inefficient must die out and the new industries must come up, new innovations must come up. That is okay. Everywhere where new entities will come up, the old entities will die out, and that is the way of capitalistic progression. I am not using the word capitalism as an ism, but just to describe that where the innovative activities take place or entrepreneurial activities take place and capital is used, this is what is going to happen. But manufacturing has to be the base. And see that in our society today, we have stopped worshipping manufacturing. We try to talk about, I was talking to the lady sitting there who is going to be recognized today about running of our engineering college. The people who pass out from those engineering colleges, what do they dream to be? Very rarely the engineering graduates will become a manufacturer. Of course, there can be any number of reasons why they are not going to manufacturers, because our manufacturing ecosystem is not very well developed. Let me dwell a little bit on that. My official work is to deal with the micro, small and medium entrepreneurs. Now, if you ask any MSME, any micro, small or medium entrepreneurs, what are your problem? The problem will fall into 4 different slots. Number 1, the complaint will come that our infrastructure is not good. Agreed. Point number 2, they will say, leave about infrastructure. We are not in a position to have finance. And when you talk about finance, there are 2 ways of finance. One is cost of finance, the other is access to finance. Some people say, I don't bother about how much money I have to pay, but would I get some finance? So both the cost of finance and access of finance is the second problem. Third problem is technology. I do not get access to technology. And the fourth, more important, is marketing. I may produce something, but I am not able to sell. Now, each one of these 4 things, there are different ways of attacking them or confronting them, and I'll talk about that a little later. But then, whenever we talk about startups in our country, our attention is completely diverted to the high technology startup or the service sector startup, as if everything is depending on that. Of course, we must celebrate the success of Bill Gates, we must celebrate the success of Narayan Murthis of the world, but at the same time, without a Tata producing goods, without a Birla producing goods, or Reliance producing goods, or each of my micro and small enterprises producing and manufacturing, where will this service sector be? Please, we have to emphasize on manufacturing activity. Now, many people ask me, why is it we are not having a manufacturing system in our country? Why is it that we are not able to encourage people to become manufacturers? There is no simple answer. And in this gathering, I should not be talking to you by giving numbers and talking about theories of manufacturing, but let me talk to you in simple English, what to my mind occurs as some of the disadvantages in our society, Indian society, as to why manufacturing is not taking place to the extent that we want. In our own families, when children, we are children and we talk to our parents, peers and other people, what is the advice we get? They say, अच्छे पढ़ रहे हो तो इंजीनियर बन जाओ, अच्छे पढ़ रहे हो तो डॉक्टर बन जाओ, कुछ नहीं है आईएएस ऑफिसर बन जाओ, वो भी नहीं है बैंक में क्लर्क बन जाओ. कभी ये नहीं कहा जाता है कि बड़े होके क्रिएट वेल्थ. Creation of wealth as an aim, creation of wealth as a desirable activity is not something that we teach our children in our home. बचपन से अगर ये आइडिया हमारे मन में ना आए, कॉलेज तक हम जब पहुंचते हैं हमारा मन में दूसरा आइडियाज आ जाते हैं. And I am not saying the other things are not good. Becoming a doctor is a good thing. Becoming an artist is a good thing. Becoming a film actor is also a good thing. But at the same time, can we instill in our children a desire to create wealth? हिंदी में हम लोग तो जब कहते हैं पैसा बनाना के नाम से लोग नफरत करते हैं, क्योंकि हम सोचते हैं पैसा बनाना गलत चीज है. क्योंकि जब भी पैसा बनाने के बात आता है तब लोग समझते हैं कि ये तो करप्शन हो गया. नहीं, पैसा बनाना इज अ colloquial term for creating wealth. We must encourage creation of wealth as an activity, and that is where we will be able to propel some of our brighter youngsters into manufacturing activities. Point number 2. In our society, we only celebrate success. We are intolerant towards failure. Till such time we want to accept that failure is a necessary step before we succeed, it will be very difficult to go for successes all the time. एग्जामिनेशन में जब मार्क्स आते हैं तो अगर लड़के या लड़की को अच्छे मार्क्स ना आए, एवरीबॉडी सीम्स वेरी वेरी अनहैप्पी. कोई ये नहीं कहता कि चलो कोई बात नहीं, आप कुछ अच्छे काम तो करो. Marks are not the end of the everything. We don't talk about that. Our grade orientation, mark orientation, and not learning for the sake of learning, it is not there. Can we, I am not trying to say that let us celebrate failure. No, we shall not as a society celebrate failure. But can you be tolerant towards failure? Can you be less dismissive towards failure? Can you say that a person or a project may have failed, but the person has not failed? He or she can try again. जब तक हम ये आइडिया ना लाएं कि a failure is to be segregated from the effort of the person from the project itself. Why do projects fail? Many times projects fail because there was a design fault. Sometimes they also fail because there is an implementational fault. Sometimes they also fail because the society is just not willing to accept that at that point of time. Let me try to talk to you something in a very slightly scientific way. This may sound a little gender insensitive, so the ladies please excuse. All the gentlemen who are sitting here, I see that there is no 6 gentlemen, so of course there is one gentleman with beard. You are also excluded from my audience now. Other people who shave every day, you beard, you also don't shave, at least not every day. How many of you use a sandwich blade today vis-a-vis this traditional 2-edged type of razor that we used to have 20 years ago? Most of us use a sandwich type of blade. After using that for 15 times, 20 times, 30 times, depending on the make, we throw it away, isn't it? If you cook in your kitchen, do you throw away your kitchen knife? Now, today we don't throw kitchen knife because the kitchen knife lasts longer. 15 years ago, we used to take kitchen knife and once in a while we used to sharpen the kitchen knife. Why is it we don't sharpen our shaving blade? Yes? Sorry? Please use the mic, I can't. Please use the mic because I also need a rest while speaking.
Never mind, I just said Gillette is genius, that's fine.
That's good English. Gillette is not a genius. Even the way the today's kitchen knife do not require sharpening, similarly some of the people who are marketing blades, they try to make you believe that buying a new blade is a good thing. But let me ask you the following. Is there a technology for sharpening blade? The answer is yes. There is a technology available for sharpening of blade. But it simply is not marketable because the cost of that the society will not bear the cost of that. This is like giving an example that when the petrol prices are falling, ethanol making becomes very, very unattractive because ethanol has a particular cost. When you blend petrol with ethanol, beyond a certain price, it is not attractive at all. So, technology may exist, market may not support. So, therefore, if I have chosen a technology which is not supported by market, as an entrepreneur, I will fail. The point I am trying to make is that failure is something we should not despise. Failure is something we should not disregard, we should disregard. And we should not try to say, जो एक बार फेल हो गया वो ऊपर ही नहीं उठ सकता है. अगर ऐसे हो तो हमारे सोसाइटी में काफी लोग आउटकास्ट बन जाते. Let me summarize. 2 points I mentioned is that sociologically, if we are able to make our system in a way by which we can encourage wealth creation and not despise failure, then maybe we will be able to nurture and encourage innovation and entrepreneurship in a greater way. There is a long day ahead. I do not want to take too much of your time. These are my subjects very close to my heart. One can go on and on talking about that. But let me use this occasion also to mention something that does government do anything? They are all good stories that I am talking about, that please encourage people to create wealth, please encourage people to treat failure as an acceptable. Government doesn't do that. What government does is that On the cost infrastructure, it is a continuing effort. On the cost side, the MSMEs have been permitted recently a 3% interest subvention for exports only. Reason being that when you are exporting a commodity, you are competing in the international market, and therefore a 3% interest subvention is granted to every MSME exporter. This is on the cost side. On the access side, what government does is that in order to make your access to finance easier, there are two schemes that we have. One, the micro and small, not medium, the micro and small entrepreneurs, we try to encourage them to get themselves credit rated. We call that performance and credit rating scheme. And the credit rating, in the initial credit rating, government gives a subsidy up to 40,000 rupees per case, or 80% of the cost, whichever is higher, and then encourages people to get credit rated. We also say that up to 1 crore of loan, there will be no collateral. It's very good to have my schemes. I want a feedback from people because I am trustee of the public money. We may have designed a scheme, does it work well? Example, if suppose my company has been rated by a credit agency, and this credit agency rating is not for a benefit but only for that 40,000 subsidy, then we are all wasting public money. If by credit rating or credit rating having been completed, that entity is granted a 50 basis point interest subvention, or that entity improves its performance, then of course this particular PCRA, performance and credit rating scheme, has been successful. And on this, we need to have some sort of feedback from people, maybe Economic Times, maybe people who have been doing that, because in government, we normally try to say, we have got a scheme, the scheme must be running well till we get a feedback on that. The credit rating agencies will not give us a feedback because it is in their interest that my credit rating scheme continues. And many times, we would like to get the feedback. So on 23rd of last month, when we had a meeting with the bankers, in presence of the finance minister, I offered this to all chief executives of the banks, saying that please advise us as to whether this scheme is working well or not. If this is not working, we are open to making corrections in that. The second one is about collateral-free lending. Now suppose I am getting a loan in any case from a bank. Now the banker, only to make sure that the target is met, transfers me from collateralized loan to a non-collateral loan because there is a scheme. In a situation like that, the society has become worse off because the banker will commit that yes, I have granted a loan collateral free, but there is no net addition to the number of borrowers in the society. Therefore, even though the scheme will show great result that people have been granted collateral free loan, it has not widened the base of borrowers. That type of thing which is substituting one eligible by an so-called ineligible person is not what the government's intention is. Again here, we would like the civil society to advise whether the collateral-free lending system is working or not. Finally, a new scheme that has come up only recently in September 2015 is about Technology Acquisition and Development Fund, TADF. This Technology Acquisition and Development Fund permits micro, small and medium enterprises to acquire technology. What is the meaning of acquiring technology? Paying the license fee or getting a patented technology at a particular cost by subsidizing them to get better technology. We also have a scheme called Credit Linked Capital Subsidy Scheme, CLCSS, by which small and micro industries who acquire new technology, we grant them a subsidy, and the good designing thing is that the subsidy is granted only after 3 years of your acquisition of technology. Those 3 years the money is kept in your name in the bank but not transferred to you, so that the entity doesn't just show whatever capital it is buying, takes the subsidy and closes and goes out of the business. Point is, we all learn over time. We all try to do better and better by doing, succeeding and failing and things of that sort, but the society must work with the government to come to right conclusion. Let me end by telling one more story. This is again a story from my days as a district level officer. When as district magistrate you go to different villages, We are told that we must do certain things, visit the Harijan Wada to see whether things are okay, go and see whether the tube well is working, and more often than not, drink a little water from the tube well, because that will show A, it is working, and B, the villagers will get a confidence that अगर Deputy Commissioner खुद पानी पी सकता है तो पानी ठीक होगा. Or in fact, when I came here, I was offered water here. I said, मैं bottle पानी नहीं पीता हूँ. Now, not that I have anything against the person who makes the bottled water, but हम लोग अपने घर में तो बॉटल का पानी नहीं पीते हैं. हम लोग अपने घर में तो स्टैंडर्ड पानी थोड़ा गर्म करके पी लेते हैं. जब कोई ऑफिस जाते हैं, होटल जाते हैं, ये बॉटल का पानी क्यों पीते हैं? And this is a sociological question. I'll not delve into that, but this is what we used to do when we go to villages, to drink water from the village well in presence of everybody, so that people trust that the water is potable. In one of such visits, I went to a school and asked the school children, what travels faster, light or sound? Now you would think that for a class 10 student, this is a very easy question to answer, whether sound travels faster or light travels faster. All the children were there, nobody is trying to answer. The principal sitting behind me is trying to prompt, I could notice, but no one answers. Then finally a little boy raises his hand and said, I will answer. I said, yes, please tell me. Without batting an eyelid, the boy says, sound, and the headmaster falls. The headmaster must be thinking that Deputy Commissioner or the district master will take action against me because the boy is giving a wrong answer. I asked that boy, why do you say sound travels faster than light? The boy asks me, do you have a television at home? I said, yes. These are the days of 1982-83. He says, when you switch on the television, पहले आवाज आता है या पहले दिखाई देता है? Oh my God. You see that the student has watched the television. When you switch it on, you first hear the sound or first see the image. All of us hear the sound first, and the image takes a slight late, a delayed response to come up. Now in earlier days, the television, when the cable TV was not there, they used to work on the principal cathode ray tube, CRT. The CRT used to take time to heat up, and then the image will form. So the child in his own mind thought that अगर switch दबाने से पहले आवाज आता है, तो sound must be traveling faster than light. I want to ask each one of you, how often we behave as that child? How often we just look at something and form an opinion without getting into details of that? If that child has not read physics, so are we. आप लोग भी और हम भी. सिविल सोसाइटी में, सिविल डिस्कोर्स में, बड़े सारी चीजों में हम वो बच्चा जैसे बिहेव करते हैं. Without examining the proof, without examining the data, we come to a quick conclusion, and they very dogmatically follow that, which is not good for us. My plea before you, whether you are talking about national progress, which depends on entrepreneurship, whether you are talking about a particular sector, that is education or health or government working or civil society working, please do not behave like that child. Do not come to a quick conclusion and dogmatically follow that without examining all the data available to us. What is apparent is not true, and what is true takes time to find out. With this, I wish you all the very best, and thank you very much for inviting me. I wish you a very, very productive deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Dr. Pujari, may I request you to please stay on stage for a couple of more minutes, sir. Let's put our hands together for sir as he shared some very special anecdotes with us and also gave some fantastic live examples. Sir, we're truly honored.